Hello everybody, my name is Boulevard, and welcome to another episode of Tournament War Room, where I let you know the cool new decks I saw over the course of a tournament weekend, those things that might fly under your radar if you didn't happen to catch any of the tournaments this weekend. Now, I didn't get to do one of these last weekend because, honestly, we were pretty spot on with what we thought we were going to see from Tournament Tactician, the Tier 1 lineup just kind of being what it was. There wasn't really anything coming out and contesting it. This week, I have two decks that I want to do a little bit of a deeper dive into, one of them being Renekton Sejuani Overwhelm, because while it hasn't put up phenomenal numbers, it did win Duels of Shuriman and then did win OLS number 22 this weekend as well. And then these Aphelios Demacia decks. I'm not going to spend too much time on the Aphelios Demacia decks because I would imagine that whatever nerfs happen to the Aphelios package in patch 2.5 will significantly hamper that deck. It feels like one of those things where this only exists in a format where Aphelios is broken. It's probably not the most broken Aphelios deck, but it is something new that I just kind of wanted to touch on because it looks like a fun ladder deck if nothing else. Bringing an Overwhelm deck to counter Twisted Fate Fizz is not a new concept. We saw it run to a varying degree of success in the previous format, the Cosmic Creation format, with Overwhelm being the Freljord Noxus version. I believe it was Sejuani Darius or Draven Darius or Draven Sejuani, one of those two. You just run a value champion, you run Sejuani, maybe you put in Darius, whatever. It was essentially the same concept. You're not like going low and wide like a traditional aggro deck like Discard or Burn or anything that's running 12 1-drops. Pirate aggro comes to mind. You're really just kind of curving out to these hardy units, and then Ruin Runner is really the only Shurima unit you're getting like maximum value out of. Renekton's not bad, and then we even have things like Exhaust and Ruthless Predator, making sure that we get to select which unit we want to go after, because there are some high HP units in the game right now. Ballistic Bot actually does a fair amount in terms of both trading power onto these units as well as just defending your opponent's life total, but you know, there's a lot of Daring Poros and Fizz and things like that as well that are just really low on HP that you want to be running over, and it usually is only going to take 2 or 3 solid attack turns to finish off your opponent, especially if you can back up that third one with a Battle Fury. It's the same reason that we see Destroyer invoked more than Great Beyond nowadays. There's a lot of 1 HP elusive units running around, so the Great Beyond is just going to get chump blocked by a Daring Poro, but Destroyer actually holds finishing power, and it's so cool to see even just a concept like that of somebody is playing the Targon Mirror or Targon versus TFIs, they're constantly invoking Destroyers instead of Great Beyonds and saying, hey, what if we just did this with all of our units and, we get something like Overwhelm? It's not exactly how it happened, but conceptually, that's how it could have gone down. We see Preservarium as the only landmark. That's why we're kind of coming down on Shaped Stone. I've seen some players go for more of the Predict landmarks as well to help fill out their curve, as well as just put more Shaped Stones online, because that +3, it's basically old Mark of the Isle, because there's really not a lot that's going to be actually threatening the life total of your units. It's more so just the extra damage that you want to push through, so 1 mana, 3 attack, right on. But there's really not much to say about it. The list is very straightforward. Its matchups are pretty straightforward. There's not a very high skill ceiling here. You just push damage, and it's effective against specific Tier 1 decks like TFIs. And while it's not the most unique looking deck in the world, I did want to touch on Demacia Aphelios. We've seen, a 2-2-2 split on Zoe Aphelios Aurelion Soul. We've seen the split that we see here, the 1-3-2. We've even seen just Aphelios Fiora. And I'm not going to show you an Aphelios Fiora list because they look very similar. And I don't even have much to say about this list because I don't think it's the best Aphelios deck. I don't even think it's the second best Aphelios deck. But it's new and it's fun. And there is something to be said about a surprise factor, and if you like Shen Fiora because you like having constant challengers to take out your opponent's units, but you weren't really the biggest fan of the Shen Fiora playstyle, you were like, hey, I kind of want this to be Targon, this is something that you could be looking for. It's a much more return to the essence of Legends of Runeterra, this combat-focused style of gameplay with a little bit of interaction. I think the Concerted Strike is just a really good card in the meta right now. You've even got something like Aurelion Soul, so the possibility of killing a Watcher with Concerted Strike is there. It's something that you usually need like Bright Steel Formation for, but Veiled Temple also goes a long way in helping with that. So this is just the deck. I really just wanted to show it off. I haven't actually gotten to see it play. It didn't top the Online League Series, which is the tournament that I was casting. It topped the Global LOR Tournament Series, the Discord tournament, so I haven't gotten a chance to watch that. I'm probably not going to. This video is going to go up at like 2:30, 3 o'clock. The LBR starts at 4, and then I have to go to bed, get up for work, and do the LBR again tomorrow. So, unfortunately, I did just want to highlight this, though, because it was something that popped up as a 2 of in a couple of these. And while it is like an Aphelios Temple deck, I don't feel like it fits under the blanket umbrella that I've put in other Aphelios Temple lists like the Boxtopus version or TF Aphelios or the Shadow Isle Invoke or even Slow Nightfall. I feel like this is something that is separate enough from those that I don't want to blanket it under that Aphelios Temple style of gameplay. And that's it. That's the whole video. Tournament War Room is not as exciting as it is in a open format in a less solved format. So hopefully after patch 2.5, these tournament war rooms will be a lot more exciting, and I can make predictions on tournament tactician and then come follow up on them on war room. But for the most part, everything is going as I expected to as an analyst in terms of these are the decks that I expect to see. I'm never going to be able to guess like, oh, these are all the 1-ofs that we'll see, these are all the 2-ofs that we'll see. What I will say is that more Lee Sin topped this week than it did last week, and we've even started to see more Aphelios Lee Sin, as well as just a split of Aphelios and Zoe popping up at about the same frequency right now. So Lee Sin's a little bit back on the rise, but when I say a little bit, I mean he's going from 0 tops to 1 top or 2 tops. So Lee Sin's back on the rise, and I think that's something that players need to keep in the back of their mind. If everything that we currently have in Tier 1 gets fixed, Lee Sin probably just comes back in a massive way. So, yeah, well, I'm not going to sit here and talk about what I want in terms of balance changes. That'll be another video, but thank you so much for watching. My name is Boulevard. I'll catch you later.